You continue down the path and instantly just keep running past those footprints until before a minute or two longer you are met with the opening back out of this forest path, and you are met with this small little town of what can only be presumably Showmore.
Okay.
It is a small little town, uh, less developed than Homestead, but a little nomad town, thatched roofs. You can see a stone church of some kind in the distance with a little bell tower. The entire town has a kind of decent little stone wall around it. The, there's no gate or any kind, it's just an open archway leading into the town itself.
Do I see any signs of burn marks or anything?
As far as you can tell, there are no signs of any immediate burn marks.
Well, that's good so far.
Is there any form of life in the town?
Oh yes, further up in the path you can see a monk himself walking the paces of the road.
The golem thing isn't chasing us, is it?
As far as you can tell, that thing never found you guys were there.
Awesome.
Okay.
You guys are just still standing there at the edge of the town.
Yeah, let's enter it and see if we can get any information.
You start walking down the main drag of the little town there. You start to see a few of these robed noble monks and priest-like figures kind of just wandering about. A few of them taking notice of you here, giving you respectful nods. A few of them saying hello. They do not really. None of them so far have stopped to really pay you any mind. They all seem to be kind of preoccupied. A few of them have books. One of them's holding a scroll as they walk by. Not in any quick fashion, just at a normal pace.
Is there anyone we can stop and ask for information?
Oh yes, you believe you can probably stop anybody. You're passing probably enough people.
Do they all seem to have just robes, or does anyone look like they might have something important on them?
As far as you can tell, no one really seems to be, like, there's no leader figure. You see, like, the classic monks with just the basic robes, and then you see people of probably a higher priest order that have more ornate robes, but no one of real significance, no, as clothing-wise, anyways.
So it'd be a waste of time to try and pickpocket them.
No comment from their dungeon master.
I want to try and pickpocket someone. Just passing by.
Do you want to aim for one of the monks, or we want to try to aim for one of the priests?
Priest.
Alright, roll it.
17.
Alright, you wait till his back is turned until you respectively pass him, and you quickly pull for a little pouch tucked into the back of his little belt on his robe.
Yay. What's in it?
You open the pouch, and there is some unusual credit coins of some kind. It's not just pure gold coins or silver, but a foreign currency to you.
So probably the currency of this town.
You believe probably so.
So that's at least a start. If we need to purchase information, we got something to pay with now.
Um, Before another minute or two, you're kind of looking about town, and you see a priest figure in these very royal blue robes, kind of heading towards your direction, like he's seen you, make contact with you visually from the church just down the road there. Seems to be heading towards you guys.
I start walking towards him too. So he's not doing all the movement.
You meet the priest. He is dressed up in some very ornate robes, very embellished with holy symbols. Some you can recognize, some you can't. Um, he appears to be an elder of some kind, and he gives you a warm welcome to this town of Showmore here. He says he's basically the head priest of this area, and he welcomes you and asks, "What can we do with your stay here? What grace has brought you to our divine little town?"
We have heard that you have seen, or there has been a few sightings of a few unsavory hounds.
Oh yes, yes. He nods as if he's trying to remember. Yes, the we have a. You see, we Showmore was built upon an ancient grounds of the dwarven mine that it shares. The dwarves would come up during the summertime and would basically mentor their trainees with this respective mine, a summer program, if you will, he says. And as of late, we have had a populace of these fire creatures seem to gravitate towards that, and we, as respectful as we would like them not to be around this holy town, as it were, he says.
Well, we have come from Homestead and the Adventurers Guild to try and assist in remedying that.
Many thanks, please, many thanks, my adventurers here, but I pray do not try and harm these creatures just on our behalf, but if there's some peaceful way we can assist you or get these creatures to vacate, it is in our best power to help any way we can.
That would be ideal, because I don't like. I agree in not harming beasts, regardless of their background or nature. I try to avoid it.
He says, "Wonderful, and might I inquire, do you intend to stay with us very long?"
Only as long as it takes to remove these creatures from your vicinity.
Well, that being said, he says he shuffles around kind of in one of the pockets of his sleeves. He says, "Here, feel free to take this." He pulls out a small little satchel that jingles with the same satchel you just pilfered off of somebody. He says, "Please take this, our credits here, in case you need to spend the night and whatnot. We can help you any way we can." He reluctantly hands you that little bag of coin.
Well, thank you very much, and anything that is left I will be more than willing to return to you.
He says, "Please, if need be, spend as you like." Says,
I
now,
prefer to only spend as needed.
says, "Now, is there anything we can help you, or shall we leave you be?"
I believe an evening's rest, and if you can just inform us as to where they seem to be coming from, that will all that will be needed.
Very well. He kind of guides you to kind of the east portion of town to where the stone wall kind of stops the boundary of the town, and you can see a small little opening to a easily noticeable mine with a full-on like little mine rail cart and rail system kind of extending from it a little bit. He says, "We see the creatures go into the mine over there, mostly at night, but whatever you can do would be of much help to us," he says.
Okay.
Have I been to this mine before?
You believe you have trained in a mine similar to this, but probably not this type of mine. You believe it's common dwarf instinct to train the little guys, the dwarves in training, the miners in training, as it were, in these primitive mines to, train them up, like in dwarf school kind of deal. So you believe you'd be familiar with a mine like this, but probably not this specific one.
It's a mine for dwarf kindergarten.
Yes. He says, "Unfortunately, I would love to provide a map for you, but we rarely use the mine. The dwarves still come down and use it during the summer months, but we see no need in such."
Fair enough. Before we rest up for the evening. Do you have anyone who understands curses and artifacts?
He kind of gives you a very faint, shocked look. Curses, he says.
Like alleviating curses.
He pauses for a moment and says, I I believe we can take a look at something, but unfortunately, we try not to meddle in the ways of curses, he says, respectively.
Understandable, but the reason I'm asking is you seem to be quite the holy town, and
Yes.
that I and the best way I know to combat curses is with the forces of good.
I see, he says. Well, maybe Father Gregor would have an idea, and he says, he is with me in the church here, if you can stop by now or when you would like, and we'll be more than willing to help you however we can.
I think that would be best before we rest.
He ushers you over to the local church and lets you go inside and talk with this Father Gregor priest, who looks about the same of hierarchy as the priest you've just met. You give him the deal, you show him the sword, says a prayer or two, gives you the biz, and as far as you can tell, you believe the curse might be gone, but there's no evident sign.
It will be worth using a little later to try.
I tell you, this is as best they can do for the knowledge that they know.
It is appreciated.
Uh, the guide also takes you over to a local little small tavern. He says, we've got a room or two here we can easily supply for you.
Do they have ale?
Oh, I'm afraid not, my dear, he says. We are a dry town here. We do not partake in the drinks.
I'm a dwarf, I had to ask.
He just
I'm
kind of
sure
he
I'm
kind of
sure you
gives you
brought
a
your own
nod,
drink.
like yeah. And you are respectively set up with two little rooms, small provisions, a bed, a dresser kind of deal, hardly any furnishings. It's not extravagant and not the largest of rooms. They all have a kind of a little menagerie of holy items kind of tacked up on the wall and a little plaque, kind of resembling all the, different religions of the realm kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
And the guide respectively, you know, bids you a farewell and says, please, I will be at the church if you need me. We will help in any way we can.
You are very much appreciated.
And he leaves you be.
And I set up for the night.
Alright. You guys kind of unpack and lie back for the night. Okay, so at this point, both of you have settled down for the night. It is like sunset, it's nighttime. Do you
Right.
both have a respective room, or are you trying to stay in the same room?
Respective.
Okay. Let's see here. How comfortable are you guys?
Very.
Like, are you planning to go to bed? What is your plan?
I am planning to rest and tackle this problem in the morning.
Alright.
Trying to rest and regather my health.
Alright, what have you done with all your things?
They are right next to me beside on the floor next to the bed.
Okay.
Nice little pile next to the bed.
Alright. All is peaceful, all is quiet. It's nighttime. Press A to sleep. Do you go to bed?
No.
No?
Nope.
You just sit there and stare at the ceiling for 9 hours.
Yep, just rest.
Ivory, what do you do?
Um,
Do you go to bed?
I have my little flask, so I'm going to enjoy a drink and just stare at the ceiling for a bit.
Alright.
Can we see the mine from our windows or anything?
No, you're not able to see the mine from your windows. You're not in the right position.
Okay.
But you can hear the sounds of the village outside, and you are attentively listening for anything, but nothing. You don't hear anything. You don't hear anybody walking around. You don't hear any noises or anything. And you kind of just laze out and stare at the ceiling and ponder.
Okay.
Alright, let's see here. Both of you... What do I want to use here? Yeah, why not? Both of you give me perception real quick.
Alright.
18.
Ooh, nice.
3.
Okay. Skaith, you're zoning out. You're staring at the ceiling. Ivory, you notice that there is a figure, a dark figure hiding amongst the shadows of the corner of your room. Like you can physically tell someone's there, and you think you can see the dark shape of something standing in the corner.
I am going to sit up and ask him who he is. Or who's there.
You ask. You get no response.
Rather quickly I want to gather up my stuff off the floor and put it on the bed beside me.
You pull up your little pack and such and set it on the bed next to you.
And
You do not hear any breathing. You do not hear any voice. You do not hear any clanking or clattering or anything at all. But you can tell something is standing there. The room starts to get cold.
do I still have my little short sword with me?
Yeah, we'll say yes. Skaith, roll another perception for me.
3.
Alright, you're still zoned out. Ivory, what continue your thought?
I'm going to put my little short sword in hand and kind of just stare him down.
Alright, you can't quite even make out a silhouette. It's just a mass. You don't have any defining edges. You don't have a candle or anything lit. All you have is the outside moonlight kind of spilling in, but not enough to see well.
Is there a candle or anything around me that I can light?
There is a candle to your bedside. You can easily light a candle there, but at this point, it is unnaturally cold in the room, and you can start to see your breath.
I'm going to go ahead and light the candle and put my armor back on.
You do this trying not to take your gaze off of whatever's standing in the corner. You light the candle. Just that one lone candle doesn't light the room up perfectly, but there is now a dark figure standing in the corner. As far as you can make it out, it appears not to have any arms. And this figure is just encased in blackness. Skaith, roll another perception for me.
14.
Alright, you look over to your bedside and your little pack and such. You kind of pull your hands from behind your head, and your little cosmic rock is going off the hinges, glowing spastically.
I am now alert.
This thing is going nuts. Ivory,
I look around trying to find it.
this being, the more you try to examine it, its legs have bent backwards. It has claws instead of shoes. It is hard to tell if this thing has armor or scales on it. It is just a dark mass of unpleasantness. Its facial area, wherever its face should be, you see just a void of darkness, dotted ever so slightly with hints of lights, as if you were looking into a night sky.
Do I see anything in my room?
You see nothing, but your little rock is going haywire.
Does the rock tell me where I should go? Where it is? Or is it just going haywire?
The rock is just flashing as far as you can tell on the back of your hand. You haven't touched it, but this thing is glowing all sorts of funny colors.
I want to go and check in on Ivory.
You rise up out of bed. As you get to the door, its intensity greatens. As you open the door and turn towards her room, it goes even faster.
Well, now I know where I'm going. I burst into her room.
Skeith, look out! There's something in the corner.
You burst in. How do you burst in? Do you just open the door?
I just opened the door very fast.
You open the door. The door hides, basically almost closes on this figure. You see Ivory geared up with her sword in hand, standing on the, well, on the bed, shouting, "There's something in the corner."
I motioned for her to get out of the room.
I run to hide behind my elven friend.
You get out of the room.
Close the door and we head out of the building.
You close the door behind you and just calmly walk outside, but at a quickened pace, I should say.
Yes.
It is nighttime. Town is still quiet. The mine seems quiet. Take a gander at it.
Let's head to the mine and check it out.
Do you really think we should leave that thing in there with all those people?
I take a look at my wrist thing at the rock.
It's still going all sorts of colors, but not as fast as it was when you were at her door.
Honestly, I think we should be fine.
I know we should be fine, but should they be fine?
For some reason, it was after you. From what I do remember about these things, well, let me put it this way. They remind me of birds of prey.
Great, I have some weird thing after me.
They target.
As saying all this, you kind of keep your eye around town and kind of on the mine at the same time, trying to see anything out of ordinary, especially since whatever that was. And you do notice kind of a small glow of orangish light over near the mine. Kind of go to the mouth of the cave and just disappear inside.
And that's our target. Let's head over there, now.
You head over to the entrance of the cave. It is a small cave. You can see down it for a little ways until the light from outside fades out. Every 10 or so feet there are beams holding up the ceiling. There's an immediate track system with these metal carts obviously leading into the cave itself. From outside you can see kind of to the left there looks like a few more carts with some sort of activation mechanism, a lever of some kind. As well as outside you can see the foundation, the wooden board foundation of possibly a few sheds that are probably installed or set up when the dwarves are here.
I want to get into one of the carts and go for a ride.
There is a cart immediately outside at the stopping end tracks, and you see a few more resting kind of in that little stationary spot to the left with the lever.
Or follow the tracks instead of ride the tracks.
Alright, so which minecart do you get in?
The one closest to the lever.
Okay, technically speaking, that would be... There's about 3 of them lined up in front of the lever there that appear to be on a side track that looks like we'll get on the main track leading into the mine itself.
Let's go for the main track.
Now, there's a minecart sitting on the main track, but outside the cave at the little stopper there. But then there's the three waiting to get on track by, looks like by way of the lever. However, you can practically confirm that this lever will put these carts, guide it, change the track to put these carts on the main track.
Let's get in one of those.
Yeah, I kind of just ignore Skate's warning of following the tracks and just hop in one of the carts and hit the lever.
Alright, you instinctively jump into the first cart right next to the lever, and you instinctively hit the lever. This thing clunks with a mighty clang. This thing has been sitting here for quite some time without use. Instantly, the first minecart you are in starts rolling, and you slowly turn onto the main track. Scape,
I quickly hop in.
you see the dwarf kind of just start turning this little corner, straightening onto this main track, and just start rolling off without you, ever slowly.
I quickly hop into the cart.
You quickly hop into the cart. Both of you are now riding the slow minecart down a very, very slow incline into a dark mine.
I cast light on the minecart.
You cast light on the minecart. Now that's going to be a feat. Give me a 20 minus mana from that one.
Sure.
But the minecart lights up. The entire mine around you lights up in your general area as this entire minecart shines bright. You travel on for about 3 or 4 little posts at your little snail's pace until you can see an obvious dip of a downward descent in the track ahead.
I will hold on if I were you.
I embrace the minecart.
You hug the side of the minecart. As cartoon style, both of you rocket over the edge of this and almost begin to feel like you're in a free fall as this cart speeds down this massive descent here.
Whee!
The whole thing starts clanging like it's about to fly off the rails until eventually you flatten out on this little plateau and come to a little stopping point. Right next to another little cart depot with another lever.
Do we see any signs of hellhounds?
You can see ahead of you there is what looks like an elevator or a lift system of some sort with rope pulleys and chains. And there's an elongated tunnel that continues down for a ways with the same supports holding up a faint orange glow down at the end of the hallway that's slowly fading out.
I think we should head that way.
Alright, Skaith hops out of the minecart and begins following down the path. Skaith, you
Are you
reach
gonna follow?
the elevator.
Oh, yeah, I follow.
You both reach the elevator. It appears to be out of commission. It does not look like it really goes anywhere. You have now lost this orange glow. It just seems to have gone out of view. You can see there, a little ways down the path, there is a corridor to your left, and it looks like further down, possibly an intersection, but you're still a little ways away as you go out of the glow of your minecart.
I'm going to cast light on the sword.
Alright, you sword lights up again. I'll give it just a 10 for that.
Yep.
You can see an immediate turn to your left, and there is in fact an intersection up ahead.
Let's head down to the intersection.
As you pass by this turn to your left, you can see it extends down another hallway, and you see some multicolors down, some faint multicolors at the end of the hallway there.
Multicolors?
Colors seem to be changing.
Okay.
It's too far down the hallway to tell what it is or how intense these may be.
I want to continue venturing down to investigate.
Ivory pushes past your Skaith and begins following the shiny colors.
I follow her.
Oh, it's just me. I always follow the shiny colors.
You make your way down the hallway a little bit. There's another turn to the left, and the colors are down the hallway ahead of you. That looks like it opens up into a room farther down.
Alright.
As you approach the room, you can tell this is Ivory. You can tell this is some sort of halt or hold room of some kind, a storage room, possibly one of these rooms set up in the mine. That way, you're not just trying to squeeze by people in minecarts, kind of deal. A side room, if you will.
A side room. Can I see anything?
You're almost at the edge of the room. There is no door. It is just an arch opening into this room, carved out of the rock of the ground. And there is color illuminating the entire room at rapid intervals, changing and fluctuating. You instantly begin feeling a little bit warm as you start encroaching this room. Skaith, you're not far behind her. You begin to feel the temperature rise ever so subtly as well, even in the cool darkness of this mine down here.
I'm gonna go ahead and go into the room.
You walk into the room. It is about a 50-foot by 50-foot notched out room with nothing of really importance. It looks like some large table-like structures cut out of the walls for equipment and such to be placed, but it looks like whatever these dwarves do here, they pull everything out with them. But you more noticeably are met with several large makeshift nests on the floor, made out of just bits and scraps of rock and paper and just like any other debris pulled from the forest of the local area. Scorch marks plethora this room, as you are also met with each nest having several small, little, multicolored hellhounds that appear to be sleeping.
Okay, well, we found the hellhound nest.
Oh, isn't this lovely?
Now, the only question is, how are we going to get them out of here without hurting them? Do we notice anything else?
You notice there are no larger hellhounds anywhere, no, and right off the bat you don't pick out an orange out of all these colors here that you believe you were following. At least not a noticeable one. You see greens and golds and pinks and blues, but you don't strike an orange right off the bat.
Okay, so that leads me to believe that wherever the adult is, these are just puppies.
Both of you roll a stealth check real quick for me.
15?
Okay?
13.
Alright, both of you are still keeping quiet. Nothing has woken up yet.
Let's try to back out.
You cautiously back out of the room. You are outside the room now.
we see any of the orange light anywhere?
You look behind you, back towards the tea break you went off to the left at, and you do not immediately see any sign of any color.
Okay. So, let's see. Let's head back to the tea break.
Make your way back to the intersection. You can see the minecart off to your right, and the intersection you were previously heading to towards your left.
Let's head towards the left.
Head towards the intersection. There's a path to the left, a path to the right, which you can faintly see more multicolors way down to the right, and in front of you looks like might be blocked before too long. Something is obstructing what little bit of light you're casting off of the sword.
And let's go down to the other multicolors.
You continue down that hallway. It is a straight shot to what looks like is going to be another side room. You get about 10 paces and you can see more multicolored lights and...
Investigate the multicolored lights.
Alright, same deal. Another side room full of nests with these multicolored pups. Both of you roll a stealth check again.
1.
3.
Alright, you don't know how you did it, but both of you happen to trip over each other. And a large clang of metal armor later, practically every little pup head rises up in the room and looks right at you, as you two are kind of just falling over each other in the doorway there. As there,
I throw some spare meat that I gathered with me.
you instinctively just reach into your bag and just chuck it into the middle of the room. It just kind of lands with a raw splat. A few of them kind of look over at it and look back at you. As they are awake now, you can see a tiny little plume of fire on them. They're not like on fire like the last ones you were fighting, but they just appear to be looking at you, confused, some of them tilting their heads back and forth like confused little puppies. A few of them you see try to get out of their nest. A few of them are having a hard time. One of them flops over on their back and scrambles to get itself up. These things are newborns, by all means. They begin to try to make their way out of their nest. Now you realize some of them start whining ever so pitifully as some of them can't even get out of the nest, and a few that manage to make it out kind of start slowly, timidly walking up to you, trying to figure out what you are.
I outstretch a hand.
There's a...
As do I. I want to try and pet one.
You're both still lying prone on the ground on top of each other and just kind of stick a hand out. There's a bluish one and a goldish one kind of looking close to your hand, Skaith, and just kind of a very timid and not sure what to make of you, trying to sniff as hard as it can. There's a kind of reddish one over near you, Ivory, that kind of gets up close and is about doing the same.
I want to try and pet its head. Very slightly.
You kind of ever so slightly urge your hand forward enough to make contact with it. It is warm to the touch as this thing is on fire, but it does not burn you. And you seemingly pet this thing ever so gently, enough to physically make contact as this thing is still wary of whatever you are. If you believe you could do the same if you tried.
I pull my hand back slowly and try and sit up.
You sit up and push the dwarf off of you. The loud clatter of metal on the ground. A few of the puppies jump, and some of them kind of run back behind their little nests, scared by that loud noise you've just made.
I stood up. Did the little red one run away, or is it still near me?
He backed up, but he's still trying to act brave.
Okay, I want to sit up and try and get it to come towards me.
You try and beckon the little pup, but it does not seem to trust you enough to just bound towards you. By now, most of them have kind of gathered up like a semicircle around you, like none of them trying to dare each other to get closer. See who's going to be the one to touch one of you.
I outstretch a hand again.
They seem timid, but the first two you tried to make contact with actually ease up close enough you could touch them.
I gently brush one of them.
Warm to the touch.
I want to try and coerce the little red one to like me.
You can't just coerce someone to like you.
A few more seem to be kind of getting brave enough to get towards you, as seeing you are making physical contact with these other ones. A few of them kind of yap at you every now and again. Some of them are whining, as you'd expect a litter full, literally a room full of multicolored pups would probably do, even if they weren't demonic. The red one gets close enough up to you to try and act like it's gonna try and playfully pounce on you, Ivory, like it's trying to fight you, but it's a puppy. So,
The red one?
yes. There's a green one and another blue one saddling up behind it. Skaith, you've got a small orange one kind of interested in you as well.
I'm gonna, since it pounced on me, I'm gonna go ahead and give it some attention and pet it.
You can easily pet this little red one as it tries to playfully nip at your fingers, rolling on its back, playing.
You guys aren't as threatening when you're not trying to set me on fire. You're actually kind of cute.
You're so cute.
At this point, you've got about 4 or 5 of them actually immediately around you, kind of almost trying to jump up on you and investigate you a little further. The rest of them are kind of crowding around a circle. Some of them have actually gone behind you and are like really sniffing you over, figuring out what you are, as curious puppies would.
Wait. Well, hold on. Do we see any sign of any of a parent?
This room is full of puppies as the last one looked. You do not see any parent, or any large one.
We really need to be cautious.
Skaith, your bag is being tugged on.
I open it up and pull out another portion of meat.
2 of the puppies that were tugging on your bag sniff it over and don't seem to be interested in it, but are more or less trying to teeth at your bag. Third one joins in, and they're actually getting some weight behind it, like they're trying to pull you down. Ivory, you can feel one of them kind of jumping up at your back, like he's trying to climb you or something.
I reach around and try and get the little guy on my shoulder.
You happen to easily kind of scoop up this little pup and plant him on your shoulder. Basically, both of you right now are in that famous puppy swarm that everyone wants to be in. They've all seemed to kind of easily joined up with you at this point.
Well, okay, now we know that they're using this place as a nest. We really do need to be serious.
Oh, but I want to keep one. They look familiar. Can I keep one, please?
Ivory, you can feel another one kind of jumping at your back, kind of like grabbing your giant tuft of hair.
Ow! Ow!
Still want one?
Yes. I get him off of my hair.
Kind of usher him back, but you're basically in a little swarm of puppies right now. It's hard to keep track because there's a lot of them just kind of jumping on you at this point. Skaith, you've got about 5 of them pulling on your bag right now. They're either going to pull it off of you or pull you down with it.
I'm gonna pull back.
You pull back, and these puppies retaliate. They think you're playing with them now, and they begin to kind of tug a war with your little shoulder bag.
I just kind of drop it.
Drop it, and they are kind of playing tug of war against each other now. A few of them are jumping in your lap, trying to jump up at your face.
Oh boy.
Ivory, the one on your shoulder is kind of settled down, almost like he's gonna lay down and sleep on your shoulder, because you've got a big enough shoulder pad there. A few more of them are kind of just jumping around in front of you, trying to play.
I don't have anything I can play with them with.
I checked the little bauble on my wrist.
It appears to be inactivated. It doesn't seem to be glowing anymore.
Good.
Skaith, you notice as these puppies are tugging on your bag and, rolling on it and such, it's ever so slightly kind of getting faint singe marks on it, respectively.
I start gently removing them from the bag.
You keep trying to pull them off, but it seems as if you pull one off, another one kind of jumps back at it. And you start to smell this very displeasing smell all of a sudden. Ivory, do me a favor and roll me a d20 real quick.
18.
Alright, Skaith, you are met with this very foul odor that smells of something on fire. Ivory, go ahead and take a good 10 points of fire damage as your hair is now caught on fire from these little pups.
I do believe it's time we put them down.
She's basically about to be lit up like a candle, if you remember her large tuft of hair.
Yes. I remove the dog.
I try and pat
You
out
what,
the fire.
Skaith?
I remove the dog and she tries to pat out the fire.
You scoop the dog off her shoulder, and basically the back of her head is just catching a flame. Roll to put out the fire. Should be easy.
18.
Good enough. I rolled a 1. You quickly snuff out this flame, but Ivory, you instantly hop up because you realize you are on fire, in fact. And dropping a few of the pups to the ground, rather harshly-ish. A few of them kind of whine, cry, in much displeasure. Skaith, they're kind of... A lot of them have jumped back now, kind of like commotion's going on, as you guys have hopped up and trying to put out this fire they've started.
We really need to... Let's just gather up our things and try and... leave the mines. We now know what they're doing in here.
Alright. I kind of pout.
You kind of collect yourselves. A few of the puppies look like they may have... You're not even sure if they've gotten hurt, if you've tossed them off or whatnot, but none of them seem to be like visually limping or anything, but they don't seem to be very playful towards you anymore. Skaith, there are still about 3 or 4 of them still tugging on your bag, preoccupied by that.
I just gently pick them up and put them away. Put them down.
It's a comedy of errors. As you pull one away, the other one grabs back. But they are just grabbing on your bag. You believe you can probably just pick up the bag by the handle and kind of shake them off or get them off that way so it's out of their reach.
I want to do that. Just gently pick up the bag and try and loose it from their grasps.
You pull the bag out of their reach, and you are easily able to take the small multicolored puppies off of the bag and kind of set them back down, and they soon lose the encouragement to try and jump up and grab the bag anymore.
I put the back up on my shoulder, and let's just start leaving.
You start making your way back. Several of the pups actually kind of start waddling after you. Kind of this parade of colors behind you. The majority of them stay back in the room, but a few of them are kind of lingering out of the room a little bit.
Well, we need to keep going then.
You make it all the way to the intersection you were just at. To the right, looks like something's blocked. You've got ahead of you, and to the left. You look back now, and pretty much all the puppies have stopped. Well, a while ago, and a few of them are kind of walking back to their little nest room, like they know not to leave or something of the sort.
Okay.
So there's a path in front of you, a path to the right, and a path to the left.
Where's that path that we saw before that was slightly blocked off?
You can easily see that. That's to your right.
We'll head to the right.
You head to the right, you get about 3 or 4 of these support columns, and it looks like a natural rock slide or a cave-in has occurred. You do notice that there appears to be what looks like possibly a remains of a corpse buried under these rocks as well, like someone was possibly crushed underneath this cave-in.
Okay. Well, let's turn back then.
Alright, you're back at the intersection, to the right, to the left, straight ahead.
Let's go straight.
You head straight, and you can see that there's a turn to your right, and up far ahead looks like there's an orange glow.
Let's head straight on.
You continue
orange glow.
onwards until it comes into focus that there is an adult hellhound, glowing orange, kind of sniffing about.
I whistle a little bit to get its attention.
Its ears quickly perk up and it looks in your direction. This looks a little bit larger than the ones you were facing at the ranch.
Okay. Well, because now we smell like they're puppies, I just want to slowly approach it and keep my hand down.
You take about 3 steps and this thing hunkers down and starts growling.
I get low to the ground too and stick my hand out.
It does not ease up. It actually looks aggressive instead not scared. This thing will actually give a good bark, aggressive bark at you now.
I throw the last bit of the meat that I have out.
It splats a little bit in front of it. The creature does not seem to really notice it. Takes its eyes off you for about 1 second, enough to sniff this thing and shake its head and look back towards you.
I just sit down. I just sit and wait.
This thing will hold its stance and actually bark again until you see 2 more orange glows kind of saddle up beside it and assume the same positions, growling at you.
I want to scoot a little bit closer.
You scoot a little bit closer. The one up front actually takes a paw and stamps on the meat as it treads over it and gets about 10 feet away from you, and it is right up in your grill practically, growling. This thing is barking at you aggressively. This thing is trying to scare you as far as you can tell.
I just gently and calmly extend a hand, palm down.
Extend a hand, palm down. Ivory, roll me a stealth check real quick.
13.
Okay, good. You hold your hand out as this the hellhound gets close enough to sniff you. It's still almost a good foot away from you, but you can tell it sniffs the air. And this thing just viciously starts barking. You can almost see it start foaming at the mouth. As two more saddle up right next to it and are just barking their heads off right at you.
We don't happen to have any puppies following us, do we?
Ivory looks back. She's a little ways behind you. As far as you can tell, you don't. They all wandered
Okay.
back to the room.
I don't have one tucked away in any of my armor, do I?
No, you're good.
I have an idea. If we were to back away, would they follow us?
You are uncertain.
I want to take a couple steps backwards.
Take a couple steps back. These hounds retaliate by taking a few steps forward to match you, still barking.
Let's slowly lead them back to the puppy pit that we were just at.
You start making your way. You kind of walk backwards until you meet Ivory at the intersection, and to your left, all the way down, you can see the faint glow of the multicolors. The hellhounds are right there in the intersection with you. Not barking anymore, but still growling.
Do you think if I whistled, the puppies would their attention would I provoke the puppies' attention?
Probably so, but you're not sure if you could get them to come to you.
Okay, well, I want to get halfway down that hallway then, back to around where they stopped.
Alright, both of you start working your way backwards towards the nest, and you get about halfway down the hallway. You can see the puppies have... Some of them have kind of wandered back to the door. They can see you, and the hounds have still, pinched you in, or still sitting there in front of you growling.
I
Both of us try to whistle and get their attention.
agreed.
You do so, and a few more puppies kind of gather around the front. A few of them start slowly walking in your direction, but still very timid.
Can we, slowly meet them halfway, and I want to try and start petting one, show the parents that I mean no harm.
You start doing so. One of the... You kind of glance behind you for just a second. You see one of the little more golden color ones, kind of is one of the more braver ones, is trying to slowly make its way towards you. One of the hellhound to the right will give out a large bark that interrupts all the growling, to which the puppy takes about 3 steps back. Kind of holds its spot.
I want to get closer to the puppy, slowly.
You are just about at it. You believe you can reach down and grab this thing.
Would I be able to pet it?
It is at your feet at this point. It's right next to you.
I sit down next to it and just start petting it slowly.
As soon as you touch it, these hellhounds basically just rush you. Both of you roll initiative.
I was hoping to avoid this. 8.
20!
Alright. Ivory, you see these things rush Daniel. Rush Skaith. What do you do?
I just want to try and block him from getting to him.
Alright, you are not sure if you can jump in front in time, but you believe you can try and tackle one or something if you like.
Yeah, I want to try and tackle one.
Alright, the one closest to you, roll it.
15.
Alright, you successfully knock the one closest to you, basically to the side. Alright, Skaith, would you like to do anything that's not a move?
I want to just try and hold the puppy.
How?
Gently?
Like where and how?
I want to pick him up in both of my hands and just cradle him.
Okay. Alright, does 11 hit? No. A 15 hits. The one right in front does not care and full out tackles you. Knocks you to the side. You don't know where the puppy went. It went out of your hands. I'm going to go ahead and do a 10 damage as this thing hit you hard.
Okay.
Alright, now you can do something, Skaith, as this thing is practically on top of you.
I would like to... Well, I don't want to harm the puppy, or the dog.
Oh, I'm sorry, I take that back. That'll be out of turn. Ivory, it's back to the top then. You're on top of one you've just knocked over. One's on top
Do they
of...
understand English?
Excuse me?
Do they understand when we talk to them?
You are not certain. Do you think you know anything about hellhounds?
A
You can
small amount?
you can try for creature knowledge if you think that'll help.
Sure.
Roll it.
19.
Alright, you are fairly certain these things don't. Unless commanded by a spell or something. These things don't understand common or whatever you're speaking.
I want to let it up and back away as quickly as I can so I don't hurt it.
You push yourself off of it and kind of step back to the opposing side of the wall. This thing gets back to its feet and just faces you as if ready to attack. Is that all you'd like to do?
Then yeah, that's everything, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying not to hurt it, so yeah.
Alright, Skaith, what do you want to do? One's on top of you.
I want to try and throw the book to Ivory.
Alright, with one hand trying to keep this thing from eating your face off, you kind of manage to root around in your bag enough to kind of just slide the book as best you can over towards Ivory. If you want to roll a d20 to see how well you can slide it over there, you can do that.
I've got a 15.
Alright, you managed to slide it over good enough, Ivory. It's within your reach. You can grab it if you wanted. But before that, it's not your turn. Hold it. Both of you are met with this eerily haunting moan. Daniel, you have heard this before. Skaith has heard it as his last encounter at the farm.
Oh no.
Alright. The hound in front of Ivory will take notice to the noise instead of her. The one that is just threatening will stand by as well. But the one on top of Skaith will try and bite your face off. How's a 13 work?
A 13 hits me.
A 13 will sink its teeth into you for a good 20 damage, as it is your good face reason. Ivory, what do you want to do? Something just made a weird, creepy noise.
I want to see if there's a spell in the book that allows the animals to understand me.
Alright. Start running through the book, and you start going across the pages. Summon Monster, Arcane Smash, Lightning, Command Undead, Gust of Wind, Disguise Self, Sleep, Mage Hand, Ray of Frost, Acid Splash. Do you continue?
If I disguise myself as one of them, can they understand me?
You are uncertain.
I want to disguise myself as one of them.
Alright. I'll give that one to you. You roll you say the magic words, and as far as you can tell, these things will believe you look like one of them. Alright, Skaith, what would you like to do? I don't believe you have filled in Ivory with your adventure at the ranch, so you are uncertain if she knows whatever that noise was.
I want to inform her that there is some form of demon spawn person around who's probably controlling the hellhounds.
Alright, you shout that out and you believe she got the message. Anything you'd like to do, Skaith? It is your turn.
I would like to try and just... I want to gently put my hand, the one that's not guarding my face, onto like the side of the hellhound, letting it know I'm not a threat.
Okay, you do so. It seems to have no effect at all. Skaith, do you feel like a gambling man?
Why? Do I feel lucky?
That depends. I have an idea. I can contest something. If it's good, it works out in your favor. If not, then it doesn't.
Okay, well sure, I'll put my life on the line.
Alright, roll a d20 contest with me.
Alright, I got a 14.
I got a 10. Alright, you manage, during your struggle, one of your little... You have to sacrifice one of your potions. I'll let you pick.
Okay. I'll sacrifice one of my health ones.
Alright, one of your half-healths kind of clatters to the ground and actually cracks upon your little scrap with this hellhound. It immediately reacts and just jumps off of you. So it is no longer on top of you anymore.
Okay.
You manage to get to your feet. Now what do you want to do? I'll give you an action.
I want to try and discern where that sound is coming from.
As far as you can tell, that thing is a little bit deeper in the mine. Not just around the corner.
Deeper in the mine. Alright.
Probably a path you've not gone yet.
Okay then. I want to give up on trying to coerce these dogs. They obviously will not listen.
And do what?
I want to try and just walk away.
Alright, you turn your back hoping that these things will not attack you. To which, the one in front of Ivory will bolt down the mine away from you guys. In the only direction you know right now, away from the nest. Possibly towards whatever that noise was. The second will do the same, and the one in front of Skaith will also do the same. Just bolt off away from you guys.
Okay.
Ivory, Skaith, looks like he's just been bitten in the face, quite literally.
Can I go back to my dwarf self now?
Excuse me?
I'm a hellhound, remember? Can I go back to my dwarf self now?
You can do whatever you like, I'm not stopping you.
Okay, I want to go back to being a dwarf.
Okay, and do what?
Start venturing down the hall to find out what the noise is.
Alright, you start following after the hellhounds that have just bolted off. Skaith?
I follow as well, mopping up the blood off my face.
Alright. You reach the initial intersection with the cave-in to your right. You can still trail them bolting down the corridor straight ahead of you and taking a sharp turn to the right. Assuming you follow?
Yes.
You follow, sweet. The line takes a turn to the right as these hellhounds bolt right through another side room that has through nests that are empty and continue to a door through the right. Do you do the same?
Yes.
Alright, you pass through this empty nest room. You can see you took a second to realize you weren't just going to trample over puppies or something. But you now look and see there's a two turns to your left, a turn to the right, but you can see the hellhounds all the way down at the end of this corridor take all the way down a long ways and take a left and just disappear out of sight.
Okay.
You still follow?
Still follow.
Alright. You take about 3 steps and get to that first corridor to your left, and you are instantly met that this entire hallway gradually has corpses in it. But they are peculiar. They appear to be adventurers. They have armor, they have adventure gear, noticeable stuff you've seen in your markets before. But they are not just lying prone. They are actual skeletons. No skin left, no meat, any flesh. Just skeletons and clothing. But they seem to be standing. A few of them appear to be shielding their face and their head. One of them has a shield held up with their face turned away. Like they were trying to look away or turn away from something, but they are standing. They are not collapsed, but they are just skeletons in armor.
Hmm.
Strange.
Is there anything else of note?
A few of them look like they've dropped their weapons, but they are just as static as possible. As far as you can tell without touching anything, from observation only, they are just pure bone and clothing, like all matter of flesh and meat have been devoid of each of these corpses.
Okay, let's try to cautiously get past them without touching them.